Welcome on board the news track. I'm Rahul Kamal. What are the implications of the Uttar Pradesh Panchayat election results? The BJP, in comparison with the assembly elections and Lok Sabha elections in UP, has done much worse. Next year is the big assembly election in the state. The BJP just lost West Bengal. Will there be any impact of the West Bengal results and these Panchayat election results on the UP assembly elections next year? It's the biggest question in Indian politics at this moment, and I look at that in great detail on the news track tonight.
UP Panchayat panic for the BJP. Big poll jolt for Yogi Adityanath. Is COVID hitting the BJP's Shakti? Is the BJP losing its ground?
The result of the Uttar Pradesh Panchayat polls have come as a setback for the Bharatiya Janata Party. The Saffron Party has lost big across the state, lost in each of the regions except some pockets, and even lost in its bastions like Ayodhya, Mathura, Prayagraj, including in the Prime Minister's constituency of Varanasi. Net across the state, if we were to look at the numbers, the BJP picked up about 579 of the 3050 wards in UP. The Samajwadi Party has 200 more wards than the BJP, picking up 779 wards across the state. The BSP has 361, the Congress 59. Others picked up about 42% of the wards, bagging 1272 wards. But what's very clear is that given how well the BJP had done in the Lok Sabha elections of 2019 and before that in the assembly elections of 2017, the party's graph has come down substantially from there.
Touted as a semi-final before the big assembly election next year, Uttar Pradesh Panchayat polls have witnessed a dramatic swing. Of the 3,050 Zilla Panchayat wards, candidates backed by the Samajwadi Party have surged ahead in 717 wards, while the BJP-backed candidates are ahead on 579 seats. BSP-backed candidates won 361 seats, and the Congress managed a meager 59. Though political parties do not issue their symbols for the three-tier Panchayat polls, they indicate the candidates they support in the Zilla Panchayat election. But the results have come as a big jolt for the BJP. For the Saffron Party, what came as a shocker was its poor performance in Hindutva bastions like Ayodhya, Mathura, Prayagraj and Varanasi.
एक बड़ी जीत दर्ज हमने की है। 790 से ज़्यादा सीटें हम खुद जीत रहे हैं। 69 सीट्स राष्ट्रीय लोकदल जीत रही है। बहुत सारे इंडिपेंडेंट्स भी आज समाजवादी पार्टी के साथ हैं। हम जनमानस की मुद्दों की बात करते हैं, हम अपने काम की बात करते हैं। 2022 में हम सरकार बनाएंगे, गांव की सरकार भी हम बनाएंगे और शहर की सरकार भी बनाएंगे।
The BJP would have counted Ayodhya as one of the most favourable districts in terms of polling after the beginning of the Ram Temple construction under the Yogi government. However, the Samajwadi Party has managed to win 17 seats out of 40, leaving the BJP with only 8. In Varanasi, the BJP has only managed to bag 7 out of 40 Zilla Panchayat seats, while the Samajwadi Party has secured 12.
जिला पंचायत अध्यक्ष की जो 75 सीटें हैं उत्तर प्रदेश की, उसमें 100% सफलता भारतीय जनता पार्टी को मिलेगी। लेकिन एक हास्यास्पद बात है, जो दल कल तक ये कहते थे कि पंचायत चुनाव नहीं होने चाहिए, समाजवादी पार्टी जैसे दल जिनको 3050 सीटों पे कैंडिडेट नहीं मिले थे, आज वो भी दावा कर रहे हैं कि हमारे ढेर सारे प्रत्याशी चुनाव जीत कर आए हैं।
In Mathura, the Mayawati-led Bahujan Samaj Party is at the forefront with 12 seats. The RLD has won 8 seats and the BJP has been limited to 9 seats. If the Panchayat polls are any indicator, alarm bells will be ringing for the Yogi government that's already facing flack for the handling of the second COVID wave. Bureau Report, India Today.
You know, before I kickstart this debate, I want to make a few points very clear. One, the Panchayat elections don't have candidates fighting on a party symbol. So therefore, it's impossible, unlike in an assembly election or a Lok Sabha election, to look at the seat share, vote share and attribute it to one party. But the data that you're seeing on your screen gives you a broad sense of the way things are. And I want to put a couple of more caveats. First and foremost, this is a huge election. 13 lakh candidates for some 8 lakh posts. 3,050 Zilla Panchayat wards, 75,000 Kshetra Panchayat wards, and over 7 lakh Gram Panchayat wards. That is what is at stake. But one of the best ways to understand what's at play is to look at the percentage of seats won by candidates of each party. So if we were to go back to the 2017 Uttar Pradesh assembly elections, at that time the BJP picked up 77% of the seats on offer. Cut to 2019 in the Lok Sabha elections, the BJP picked up 78% of the seats on offer. Whereas in the 2021 Panchayat elections, the BJP only picked up 19% of the seats on offer. That from 80 to 19 is a big fall. However, keep in mind that 42% of the candidates were others or independents, and the BJP will claim that some of these are from the BJP or owe allegiance to the BJP. The Samajwadi Party, on the other hand, is claiming that 26% of the candidates who won were SP candidates, which means that's about 7% more than the BJP candidates. Essentially, 2017 was a BJP sweep. You cannot be precise about the numbers, but you can say one thing for certain, that these Panchayat elections show that 2021 is not 2017, that there is a certain amount of anti-incumbency these results have thrown up. And to talk about what the Panchayat results mean for the Uttar Pradesh Assembly elections next year, which will be the biggest political prize after West Bengal, I am joined on this broadcast. I want to welcome first, representing the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, its spokesperson Sanju Verma. Squaring off against the BJP, we've got Ghanshyam Tiwari from the Samajwadi Party. We've got Supriya Shirnath from the Congress. And for political perspective, I'm joined on this broadcast by Yashwant Deshmukh, who runs Sea Voter. And we've got Rahul Verma from the Center for Policy Research. I want to go first to try and understand the data, because the moment the Netas start speaking, they'll contest the numbers. Yashwant, you've had an opportunity along with our data intelligence unit to study the numbers. Given all the variables at play, what, according to you, is the message that the Uttar Pradesh Panchayat elections has thrown up?
The simple message is anger and more anger. Basically, Rahul, when the public emotion is choked with whatever is happening around us, that gets reflected plenty of the times in terms of the mind. And as far as the rural Uttar Pradesh is concerned, Rahul, it is pretty clear that the BJP numbers have come crashed down, no doubt. Yes, you have given the right, right statement right in the beginning that these are the elections which are not contested on the partisan basis, but still, most of the parties have very clearly mandated which candidates they are going to support. So we had to do a lot of data mining to figure out which candidate was actually supported by which party. And there is a huge number of others still out there. Big number of them are BJP rebels. So we still need to wait where they will return, because that will change a lot of dynamics on the ground. But having said that, it has clearly put the BJP on the defensive. In majority of the regions, the Samajwadi Party has taken a lead over the BJP. There is not much reason to cheer up the BSP, barring Western Uttar Pradesh. It has not really come up making the fight triangular. Not even in Bundelkhand, for that matter. Not really a very good sign for the Congress, because even in the stronghold of Awadh region, which is like which has been a personal stronghold of Nehru Gandhi family, they have kind of debacled like anything. So the case has been purely gain of Samajwadi Party and losses of the BJP, but there is nothing much for the BSP and certainly nothing at all for the Congress to cheer.
So when the BJP swept the recent Gujarat Panchayat elections, Sanju Verma, its party spokespersons were ecstatic at the highest levels. The BJP said that look at these Panchayat results from Uttar Pradesh, from Gujarat. Look at what's happened in urban and in rural Gujarat. It shows how happy people are with the performance of the BJP, and this will mean that when the assembly elections happen next year, the BJP will sweep. If I were to extend the same understanding to Uttar Pradesh, can I argue the counter to say that these results show, and I don't know what will happen in 2022, but at this moment, voters in Uttar Pradesh are telling your party's candidates that they are not very happy and that your tally in comparison with where you were not in the last Panchayat elections, but in the Lok Sabha and in the Assembly elections has come crashing to about a fourth of where you were.
Rahul, first things first, I think you gave a very succinct introduction that, 13 lakh candidates are in the fray. We are talking of 7 lakh Gram Panchayat wards. We are talking of 8 lakh seats. The results are still not clear. The parties have not contested on their symbols. And the big winners are independent candidates who are basically rebel BJP candidates. So to say that the BJP has lost to Samajwadi Party, I think that's a lot of hogwash, because say for the Zilla Panchayat wards numbering about 3,050, it's a close contest. I believe Samajwadi Party has won around 1,000 and BJP 900 plus. Congress in any case is not in the reckoning. It has ceased to be a national party of significance. I just want to say one thing to everybody who's now making a big brouhaha and hullabaloo that, oh, BJP lost in Ayodhya Panchayat polls, it lost in Varanasi, it lost in Gorakhpur. Excuse me, please go back and recheck your memories with offense to none. 2018, there were by-elections to Gorakhpur, Phulpur and Kairana, and BJP lost all the three. Gorakhpur, in fact, was a Yogi Adityanath bastion, Phulpur was a Keshav Prasad Maurya bastion, and Kairana was the bastion of MP Hukum Singh. People said 2019, Uttar Pradesh mein se to BJP will not be able to repeat the performance that they showcased in 2014. What happened?
No, so you are looking ahead to 2022, which is going ahead of where I am in the debate at this moment. My question to you, Sanju, just hear my question so that you are, just 1 second, ma'am, just hear my question so that you are answering the question that I asked. Ma'am, 1 second, just hear my question so that you are answering the question I asked. I'm not talking about what this means for 2022. I am asking you, ma'am, just hear my question. I'm asking you, ma'am, hear my question. Ma'am, hear my question.
A panchayat election to an assembly election or a general election in 2024. If you do not give credit to the BJP for raising its tally in the Gujarat Municipal Corporation elections from 4 to 48, you said, oh, so what if you won the Gujarat Municipal, the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation elections and increase your tally from 4 to 48. BJP is still not a force to reckon with in Telangana. So Telangana mein hum jab jeete hain, a 400% jump, you don't give us credit. But
okay, but you're saying we didn't give you credit, but we did. Okay, time out. Sanju Verma, you've set the context for this debate. You didn't answer the question I asked. I will try again later. But before that, I want to go across to Ghanshyam Tiwari. Because what the West Bengal results, and right at that same time the UP Panchayat elections show, is that the opposition has a window of opportunity. Your party was criticized for largely being missing in action or not being as active on the ground as it should have been, and yet at this time you've got more candidates who won than BJP candidates. What, according to you, is the takeaway from this Panchayat election from the perspective of the Samajwadi Party?
Rahul, three things. One, when district after district, town after town, city after city, and village after village is seeing its Shamshan and Kabristan under the rule of a party that actually promised Shamshan, then we don't have a reason to celebrate. We want this government to get up and act. People are telling it clearly. The Shikshak Sangh said that more than 700 teachers were forced to go on election duty. Even on vote counting day, there was a request that these teachers should not be sent. They have not been given the due compensation. The state has not even recognized their debts. So first and foremost, it is important to put this in perspective. We are not celebrating. Second, the factual mistake that BJP did not contest on party ticket. I have the Indian Express that clearly says, for the first time, the state BJP put out a declared list of candidates for 3,550 seats. These are the seats that we are discussing. BJP will invest in 900 and Samajwadi Party won over 1,000. So BJP spokesperson is wrong in saying that we did not declare candidates.
Okay, so I'm going to fix that audio line with Ghanshyam in just a moment. Rahul Verma, let's go region by region. In the Purvanchal region, the BJP has picked up 165 votes, the Samajwadi Party 252, the BSP 100, Congress 25. In Awadh, out of the total 929 wards, the BJP picked up 165, SP again more than BJP 284, Congress 15, BSP 89. In Bundelkhand, the BJP is number 1. Out of the 148 wards, BJP leading on 38, Congress on 2, SP on 33, BSP on 30. In Pashchimanchal, where the 908 wards, BJP leading on 211, SP on 210, BSP on 142. In Varanasi, BJP trailing the SP 15 versus 7. In Gorakhpur, SP at 19, BJP at 20. This is Yogi Adityanath's area, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. Then in Raebareli, the BJP on 9, the Congress on 7, the SP on 9. In Amethi, BJP on 8, Congress on 2, SP on 9. And in Lucknow, SP on 10, Congress on 0, BJP on 3. In Mathura, BJP on 8, SP on 1. In Ayodhya, again, the SP is ahead of the BJP by 8. You can contest some of these numbers and say that some of the others are actually our rebels and they'll come back to us. But even if we were to account for that, what according to you is the message this panchayat election has thrown up, Rahul?
So I agree with Yashwant on the larger message. Even if I don't use the word anger, I would certainly say there is dissatisfaction. And this dissatisfaction might be for very different reasons, as you mentioned, across the state. Perhaps in the western UP, the dissatisfaction might also be due to farms laws and other things. In our than other places, it could be the high-handedness during the CA and RC protests, and then the pandemic, which is across the UP. See, what has happened in panchayat and especially Jila panchayat elections in last 3, which I know and I have studied, is that the ruling party always do well. And they always at least claim to do well. In this case, BJP is not even claiming that they have done better than Samajwadi Party, which basically suggests that BJP in some ways accept that, largely the result which you are talking about. Second, what happens in these Jila Panchayat elections, once these ward members are elected, they elect chairperson, which is indirectly elected. And you will see in next 7 days, all kinds of intimidation, bribery, and other tactics are used so that, people related to MPs and MLAs become Jila Panchayat chairperson. This has happened in previous regimes and it will even happen now. So for me, I think what happens in assembly election in 2022 or Lok Sabha election in 2024 perhaps may not be related to Panchayat election results. But the BJP government and Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath should be concerned about these results, and especially what is happening in the bigger cities where, pandemic like Lucknow or Kanpur, where pandemic has hit hard. And during these elections, many teachers have died. Around 700 of them, the teachers' body claimed, died due to the conduct of election. So what the government, BJP government in UP is looking for a massive dissatisfaction and, if I may use Yashwant's term, perhaps anger in what is happening.
While we can argue how much the BJP has fallen, what's still very clear, Supriya Srinath, is that much like West Bengal, much like Assam, much like Kerala, the Congress continues to be nowhere in the race. Out of the total 3050 wards, the SP leads on 779, the BJP on 579, the BSP on 361, the Congress only on 59. You were last earlier, you continue to remain last. Does that mean the Congress still is, and by your admission as well, out of contention?
No, absolutely not. And just before I answer that question, I think the term that has been used twice in your debate so far is anger. I come from Uttar Pradesh, and I can tell you there is not just anger and not just dissatisfaction. There's disappointment. There was a sense of fear. Remember, our Chief Minister has openly threatened people. You ask for oxygen, you'll be slapped with NSA, your property will be seized. Doctors have been put behind bars. So there's a sense of fear, there's a sense of helplessness, when we actually needed a sense of empathy from the government. The reality is that 707 teachers, Shiksha Mits and instructors have been reported dead. The reality also is that UP with 24 crore people went ahead with local body elections, and Bihar with half our population cancelled it, and which is why we see the kind of surge that we are seeing in COVID cases now in Uttar Pradesh. The reality also is that just about a week back, Uttar Pradesh was testing 2.5 lakh people. We are testing half those numbers today, and despite that, our numbers are rising. It is also a fact that the epicenter of the crisis has very slowly and steadily shifted to Uttar Pradesh. And may I dare say that instead of managing the crisis, what this government is trying to do is mask it. And forget about elected representatives. You have IAS officers and Director of Public Relations and Information in the government of Uttar Pradesh telling reporters what to say, that these were local elections. The reality is that BJP fought these elections with their full force, like they always do. The reality also is that whether it was Rajnath Singh or Yogi Adityanath, they were very, very involved. The reality also is that wherever BJP wins a local election, it becomes a big deal. Wherever they do not, these election results don't matter. So Haryana, Rajasthan, Punjab, where they lost, these results don't matter, they are no reflection. However, I will only say this, as far as the Congress is concerned, and I don't want to talk politics too much right now, I think Corona continues to be a big crisis. The Congress, for the very first time, has supported candidates in local body elections and contested. Could we have done better? Absolutely, we could have. But we are in the process of creating groundwork. We are in the process of putting our party together. I am not going to shy away from the fact that the Congress was not in a very good shape as far as Uttar Pradesh is concerned. But I think given Priyanka Gandhi's leadership, there is enough and more groundwork that's happening.
Okay.
And you will see the impact of it. However, I will say, Rahul, the focus singularly needs to be on Corona, and UP is not
So
doing
hold that thought. Sanju Verma, both our political pundits have used the word anger. I do not know, neither does anybody who's watching, what this means for 2022, because there is still some time out. By then maybe Corona is under control and people are less angry. But will you look at these results to concede that even though we don't know what this means for 2022 and 2024, these panchayat results show that at this moment there is anger against the Uttar Pradesh government run by your party?
Rahul, I'm absolutely appalled that if we are leading in close to 600 Zilla Kshetra Panchayat wards out of the 3050, and Samajwadi Party is leading in 700 plus. You say, oh wow, Samajwadi Party has done a great job, but with a marginally lower score, you say, my God, there's tremendous anger for the BJP. Point number one, Yogi Adityanath has done a phenomenal job in the last couple of years with a GDP of more than 22 lakh crore. Uttar Pradesh has amongst the highest per capita GDP at more than 94,000 rupees. Point number one. Point number two, under the Samajwadi Party, the law and order situation was abysmal. Forget about Gayatri Prajapati, who was charged with rape and sent to jail. Even their MLA from Bijnor, Manoj Paras, or Arun Verma from Sultanpur. These are the kind of people that Akhilesh Yadav has had as sycophants who've been hanging around him. So the conviction rate has been superb in the last couple of years. For that, you need to give credit to Yogi Adityanath. Look at the 6-lane highway at a cost of 18,000 crore. That is work in progress between Varanasi and Prayagraj. You need to give credit for that. Look at how Swachh Bharat Mission has been excellently executed in Varanasi, which is now ODF, open defecation free. So for you to not look at the development agenda that has been chugging along seamlessly and say that because of panchayat elections, there is tremendous anger. Excuse me, you want to talk of COVID? Let me tell you, Uttar Pradesh has a population equal to Brazil at more than 22 crore. And the death toll is 14,000 plus. Every life counts, and I hate making COVID mortalities about statistics. But Maharashtra, with less than half of Uttar Pradesh population, with barely 10 crore population, has more than 72,000 deaths, accounting for 33% of total deaths in India.
Okay, so let me build on that argument. I just want to tell our viewers that at this moment the BJP is 200 seats behind the SP. You're saying that the SP is down from its previous performance, which is actually true. If I look at the previous panchayat elections, at that time the SP and others had won 57%. A lot of the others favored the SP, so together they had 57. Now they are much lesser. But you are the party in power, and therefore that has to be the comparison. You can't look at the previous panchayat elections because at that time the SP was in power and Yashwant Deshmukh. Is it not correct to say that whichever is the party in power has the better chance of winning in a local body election, and therefore if despite that you trail the Samajwadi Party in 200 watts, that should be a big area of concern, and whether they accept it publicly or not, internally even the BJP knows that this is of huge concern.
Absolutely, no doubts about that. I mean, and that is the one reason. You know, we can always talk about how poor the Congress is doing because, you know, Amethi was already gone. Even Raebareli in these elections is gone. But that's a brownie point which BJP might like to score over the Congress. But when you are talking about Amethi and Raebareli, then how can you leave around Gorakhpur and Varanasi and Lucknow and other spots which are represented by the Prime Minister himself and then the Chief Minister himself home ground? What explains the issues of bad performance of BJP in those? I mean, certainly I get the point which BJP spokesperson is saying that, you know, when the elections come, this could be different. Lok Sabha election could be different. Assembly election could be different. Look, it is fine, but then, you know, it's in a level playing field. Then you cannot tell Congress they fared poorly even in Amethi and Raebareli or in Awadh for that matter. So, you know, you are in power. Certainly, the numbers are not looking very good for you at this point of time. I mean, from a distance, Rahul, this certainly looks like an angry.
No, but Rahul Verma, the same thing happened in Gujarat. In the previous panchayat elections in Gujarat, the Congress had won 23 district panchayats, 151 taluka panchayats. It won 12 nagar palikas. Now those numbers have crashed in March 2021. But could it be that there was anger at this moment, that anger has found an outlet, that anger is now out, and by 2022, people have already told the BJP, they've told the Yogi Adityanath government, we're upset with you, and then...
Now, this is very quickly one interesting point.
Yes.
When I was looking at the micro analyzing the data in Western UP, if you look into the upper Doab belt, basically, you know, which covers everything from the bordering Gautam Buddha Nagar of NCR Delhi right up to Saharanpur, I found a very interesting take over there. Now, that's the only region in Uttar Pradesh where BJP has a clear lead over the opposition. And this is the region, this is a rural election, and this is the region where the entire might of the leaders of the farmers' protest came from. So that was very, very intriguing for me. I mean, looking at the farmers' protests and everything, every analyst would have observed that, okay, BJP should have been wiped out in this region. But what has happened is just the bang opposite. It is the opposition which has scored less than the BJP in this particular
so we'll
region.
park that thought. We'll come to the farmer agitation in a moment. But Rahul Verma, like what happened in the Gujarat assembly elections, could anger have found an outlet? The anger is now out. The BJP has time till next year to try and assuage the concerns. The people have warned them. Now they have the opportunity to work on fixing the anger levels.
Sure, absolutely. You are right about this, Rahul. Let me also make 2 points. One, I think, on why did the UP government went ahead with the panchayat polls. So for that, I don't know who to blame, but Allahabad High Court in its order on February 5, in a way, forced the UP government to hold this poll. They said the elections have to be completed by April 30th. These elections should have taken place last year in October, November. They were not held. And then the basically court intervened and said this thing. The second, while, you know, I agree with the anger and dissatisfaction, you also need to, one need to keep in mind that BJP does well in urban areas of Uttar Pradesh. So it is a party which basically wins a lots of seats in cities of Uttar Pradesh. But given what we see in this data, you're absolutely right that they have been warned and they have a year to work on. You can very well take the example of even West Bengal, which recently concluded. Mamata Banerjee was warned in 2019. Right, in a way, by the voters basically gave 40% vote share to BJP and 18 seats. In some ways, Mamta basically covered lots of ground. There were, of course, BJP's own overestimation and fallings, but Mamta managed to basically overturn the rising tide in a year.
Okay,
and
Ghanshyam Tiwari, respond to that
Bengal
very
poll.
strong argument made by Rahul Verma that this is actually a warning. It's come well in time. Of course, it's a loss of prestige, but the BJP now has 1 year to pay heed to that anger and try and manage it.
Prestige, anger, manage it. Are we all blind? We don't see that district after district hospitals don't have oxygen, don't even have paracetamol, ivermectin, Zincovet. Show me one hospital, Rahul, in Uttar Pradesh that has a perfectly working COVID protocol in process. Just one hospital. Show it to me from Varanasi. Do we not see the images of every day mothers carrying the dead body of their sons in e-rickshaw? Has the state government done anything? The chief minister stands up in his red podium and says that everything is hunky-dory, everybody has oxygen, every bed is there, the medical system which has collapsed, is working. When a chief minister is deaf and blind and has been busy campaigning, do people not see? Are people not seeing that they are left helpless? And in this,
Okay, Sanju Verma, respond to that charge that the chief minister downwards, the government is coming across as being tone deaf, that when you say there is no problem, that there is no shortage of oxygen, when people are struggling, literally gasping for air, dying in the villages and cities, there's a big contrast. We did a ground report in Uttar Pradesh in different places between the claims made by the government and the ground reality. It was a shocking ground report.
You know, Rahul, let me make my point, because as I can, see, you have a completely anti-BJP panel, which is fine, because BJP is used to, this BJP versus all. Let me just remind Ghanshyam Tiwari, before he waxes eloquent about how people are dying, etc. Has Akhilesh Yadav done anything for his constituency? No. Has Sonia Gandhi done anything for Rai Bareli? No. Has Rahul Gandhi done anything for Wayanad? No. What do the opposition leaders and their representatives come and do 24/7 on national TV? Come and whine, fret and fume against the Modi government. This is not hubris speaking, but more than 17 crore vaccines were given free to states. More than 16 crore people have been vaccinated in 112 days in India. It took USA 121 days and China 132 days to vaccinate 16 crore people. So our vaccination rate is the fastest globally. We have a recovery rate of close to 89%, amongst the best, and a fatality rate is 1.1%. And let me tell you, who is giving oxygen cylinders to states currently? Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi. Who's providing ICU beds? Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi. Who's providing oxygen concentrators? Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi. Who's providing vaccines? Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi. Health is a state subject, but यदि नरेंद्र मोदी सब कुछ करेंगे, तो स्टेट्स के राज्यों के मुख्यमंत्री क्या कर रहे हैं? Akhilesh Yadav is the same guy. Such an ignoramus this man is. He said, मैं तो ये वैक्सीन नहीं लगाऊंगा. ये तो बीजेपी की वैक्सीन है. अखिलेश जी, बीजेपी की वैक्सीन लगाई आपने? What did Bhupesh Baghel say? Covaxin is unsafe. Now that Anthony Fauci, chief medical advisor to White House, says that Covaxin is even successful against the 617
but you are telling us, ma'am, one second, park that thought just for a moment, because you are telling us what you've done. But in an election, your party needs to communicate that to the voters, and it's the voters who decide whether they believe your arguments or not. We're only looking at what the voters have decided. Supriya Srinath hasn't had an opportunity to speak for a while. She now wants to come in and make her point. Supriya.
You know, I am not into the screaming match, Rahul. I will only simply lay a few facts before your audience and they can decide. Why is she shouting?
Supriya Srinath, please go on.
Sure. I will only place a few facts on the table and your viewers can decide what is happening in Uttar Pradesh, because we are talking about Uttar Pradesh. These tall claims about vaccination. Uttar Pradesh has a population of 24 crore people. You know how many people have been vaccinated? 1 crore 31 lakh. This is government's own data. How many people have been vaccinated in Rajasthan with 1/3 the population? 1 crore 35 lakhs. In Gujarat, 1/3 the population, 1 crore 32 lakhs. In Maharashtra, half the population, 1 crore 67 lakhs. Why is Uttar Pradesh vaccinating such few people? Do you also know? Please don't yell and shriek. Please have some medicine. People talk. I want to ask a question. All of this.
No, one second. I can't have both guests speaking at the same time. I must intervene to make the point that so far you've had an opportunity, Sanju Verma, to speak more than anybody else. It is true that the other parties are opposed to you, but that's also the nature of the politics of Uttar Pradesh. I will come back to you again, and more frequently, then I'll go to the other guests. But for the moment, please allow Supriya to complete. Supriya.
And a very brief point that I want to make about the Uttar Pradesh government. This is the same government that did not book its MLA for rape charges, who was finally found guilty. Have we forgotten about Kuldeep Singh Sengar? This is the same government where ministers in the government and AG Law and Order was saying there is no rape in Hathras, and the CBI booked the case for rape. This is the same government that tried to protect Chinmay Anand, who was later booked for rape. So, I mean, we can keep going on and on about what is happening in Uttar Pradesh, and the BJP spokesperson needs to realize the Prime Minister is not getting oxygen from his house. These are national resources. There is a Disaster Management Act in process. The central government has to map and allocate oxygen. The central government has to prepare. The reality is that because the central government was found napping and ignored all the warnings of the scientific advisors, we have landed in the mess where we have landed. You jolly well clean it up, which you're not being able to.
So I want to go across to Yashwant Deshmukh for final words. The sense with the Uttar Pradesh opposition is, while a warning has been served to the BJP, one of the biggest assets of the BJP is how lackadaisical the opposition is. For a large part, Akhilesh Yadav has been missing in action. Priyanka Vadra continues to remain a political tourist, coming off and on, but not forever in Lucknow. And Mayawati has almost seemed to be, strangely, very often siding with the BJP, and that really in 2022, this is all of what's happened right now is correct. But the Uttar Pradesh opposition is just so weak and dispirited at this moment, or at least before these results, that they actually make the BJP's task easier.
Actually, yes, Rahul, because, these are the worst of the time that can be for any party in power. I mean, honestly speaking, this is the worst that BJP could have had. And if in these worst times, if the opposition cannot really knock down, I mean, for all data mining and everything, I mean, at best, it is just about touch and go. With the Samajwadi Party lead over the BJP is also touch and go. It is not like a 2/3 or 3/4 kind of sweep for Samajwadi Party and BJP being thrashed out. It is not like that. And my worry is that, even in the worst of the time for the BJP, if the opposition cannot pull up the socks, cannot do what is it required to do, and cannot fight. It was very nice to see Akhilesh Singh Yadav sending a message of congratulations to Mamta Banerjee with a photograph over Twitter. But the issue is that none of these opposition leaders are learning from Mamta Banerjee that they have to really work their back off in the field on the
Okay,
ground.
Ghanshyam Tiwari, respond to that. The biggest criticism of Akhilesh Yadav has been that after 2017, he's hardly been seen on the ground across Uttar Pradesh. West Bengal and Uttar Pradesh are not the same thing. Mamta Banerjee fought as if her life depended on it. Akhilesh Yadav, like Priyanka Vadra, in many ways seems to be the manner born. He is not as aggressively on the ground as Mamta Banerjee was in Bengal.
Exactly.
Rahul, in January, BJP set up 6 high-level committees led by the Chief Minister himself and by Radha Mohan Singh, National General Secretary.
Kya kar rahe ho, boss? Where is the opposition in Uttar Pradesh?
Allow me to respond.
Why is your former Chief Minister not more active?
At least in the debate, at least you must allow me to respond in two or three sentences.
Okay.
So it is not as if, with BJP, the Chief Minister, who's always been in campaign mode with Arun Singh and Radha Mohan Singh, 6 committees, everybody working, they have been reduced to 19% by your own count. And to the extent that the spokesperson does not even admit that they contested or they campaigned on their party ticket. So it is not when a party is sleeping this happens. Akhilesh Yadav, our entire party, has been on the ground supporting people. This is not a time for campaign management. Doing well in this election, we said stop the poll counting because teachers' life is in danger. BJP wants to count the votes on the dead bodies, and that is the reason they did not stop it. Even till date, they don't recognize the death of the 700 teachers. We will continue to voice that. We are not here to celebrate victories. We are here to put governance back on the agenda of Uttar Pradesh, which BJP has completely wiped out in the idea of Shamshan and Kabristan in every
Supriya
debate.
Shrinate wants to come in on the point about Priyanka Vadra being a political tourist of sorts. She promised to pitch base in Lucknow, moved from Delhi now that her children were grown up when she became General Secretary. She still hasn't done it. She's making the odd trip. She's not a 24/7 politician in the manner in which Amit Shah or Mamta Banerjee are.
I wish there is no politician in this country like Amit Shah, and I say that with seriousness. and with my hand on my heart. So first
take
things
Mamata
first.
Banerjee as an example. Look at how she fought on the ground.
Let me just finish. Let me just finish. As far as the UP government, I will answer that question. I promise I will. But as far as UP is concerned, you say they will manage in 1 year. You know what they will manage? They only manage perception. They are far removed from reality. They only manage perception. And the same Allahabad High Court, which is being quoted to force the government into elections on the 19th of April, said stop everything, put a lockdown in 7 cities. Look at how this government behaved. They defied the court order. So let's not go by what the High Court said and what the government did or did not do. As far as the Congress is concerned, I'm sorry, I may not agree with your numbers and I'm entitled to my opinion. We have won 270. We are number 2 in 511. And the truth be told, Priyanka Gandhi is very, very closely monitors, daily has meetings. And I don't buy this argument that you have to move to a place. She is General Secretary. She's not PCC President that she has to go and live in Uttar Pradesh or Lucknow. She is General Secretary in charge. She travels as far as is possible. But
ma'am,
please
it's not a corporate environment. This is not a Zoom meeting. This is politics. Meeting people, being with them is important.
Rahul, please understand, General Secretary, there's a difference between General Secretary in charge and being a PCC President. You can't equate the two. She's not the PCC President. Our PCC President is very able and very active. And the reality is that the BJP has arrested him multiple times, sometimes for 2 months in a row because he was helping out people under the instructions of our General Secretary. So let's not make this about people. The reality is that this government has been insensitive, has failed the people of the state, just like Mr. Modi has failed this country.
Okay, Supriya Srinath has spoken. Allow Sanju Verma to make her final words and then I'll end. Why is it that despite these results in the Panchayat elections, you're so confident that between now and 2022, the BJP will again spring to life in Uttar Pradesh? Final words, Sanju Verma.
Thank you, Rahul. First and foremost, let me tell you, just like we lost 2018 by-elections in Gorakhpur, Phulpur and Kairana, but we won with a 50% vote share in Lok Sabha 2019, we won 62 seats. The Congress was at a measly 6%, beat the 2017.
It had nothing to do with Yogi Adityanath.
Okay, now let us speak. Supriya, you've spoken. Let Sanju speak. Sanju, please speak.
Congress has never crossed 6% vote share in Uttar Pradesh. 6.3% vote share Congress had in Lok Sabha 2019 in Uttar Pradesh, and in 2017 assembly elections, Congress again had a 6.3% vote share. So let the Congress spokesperson know
Answer
that
the question.
is a paper
Why is my
tiger.
state in a mess today? Answer that question for me.
not
Why
a
are people
politician.
dying without treatment? Answer that statement for me.
Is a tourist.
Answer for me. Why are people in Uttar Pradesh dying without treatment? Why is there no testing? Why is the UP Chief Minister terrorizing his...
Okay, so I'm going to end over here because I can't allow the debate to degenerate. It serves no purpose. Our idea is to make sense and to win through the power of your arguments, not by fighting over each other. You had an opportunity to hear different points of view. You've heard our pundits speak. Uttar Pradesh will be the battle royale. Before Bengal, the opposition was dispirited given where the BJP was in the Lok Sabha elections of 2019 and before that the 2017 assembly elections. Now they sense an opportunity. But remember, you can't sense opportunities unless you actively work to try and win the elections. Mamata Banerjee in Bengal fought like her life depended on it. As of now, we haven't seen that level of activism and energy from the opposition. That gives the BJP an opportunity, but who knows, maybe their spirits will be charged after these Panchayat results. We will track this story very closely. The heat is going to build up in Uttar Pradesh and we'll hopefully have the best coverage to help you understand what's happening in India's most hotly contested political election. Supriya Srinath, Sanju Verma, Ghanshyam Tiwari, Rahul Verma and Yashwant Deshmukh for joining me on the News Track. Thank you. Festivities draw closer. Covidians are thronging markets without following COVID guidelines. The iconic Charminar in Hyderabad and the market nearby was flooded with people who threw social distancing norms out of the window. The crowd was out in force for pre-Eid shopping. Even as the deadly second wave now spreads in the southern states, many shoppers were seen with masks dangling below their chins. However, Telangana Chief Secretary has said that the pandemic situation in their state is under control and cases are expected to decline in coming days. Mr. Chief Secretary, if that's how people behave, you are almost certainly going to be proven wrong. This is where we wrap up the News Track tonight. I look forward to seeing you 8 p.m. tomorrow evening with another action-packed edition of the News Track. Till then, for your time and your trust, thank you. Goodbye. Good night.